pool guy just came here. They do magic here. I have to admit I have a pool guy. I would love to say, yes, I do this myself. I get the pool to look this good because I'm like a chemist and I know how to mix all the pool chemicals just right, but I had nothing to do with it. But it looks good, doesn't it? So maybe I'll actually even go in today. Maybe I'll even jump into the pool today. So Thursday, July 13th, police off the cuff, real crime stories, coffee with Cannon, backyard beverage, bitchin' with Bill, whatever you guys want to call it. Thank you for coming by today. I don't know if you watched our show last night. This new controversial film, The Sound of Freedom, is hitting theaters. Jennifer, good morning. Grain, good morning. Red Hook, Brooklyn. Good to see Red Hook in the house. Ava Hackshaw, happy Thursday. Magical Mary, roll up for the mystery tour. Whenever I hear the word magic, roll up, and that's an invitation. So Teresa, good morning. Good morning yesterday. Red Hook, Brooklyn is in the house. Good to see Brooklyn in the house. Cheryl, morning, Sarge. Rhonda Wildberger, hello from Texas. Wow. All my exes live in Texas. That was an old country western song. Wildsy Pony, good morning. Good to see you. How are the horses doing down in Florida? How's the weather down in Florida? It's supposed to be super hot there right now. Wildsy Pony. Scott, morning, Scott. Scott, you're always in the chat. I'm glad to see you here, buddy. Great to see you. Jennifer, can you sing any rock songs? Yeah, but I don't really have like a powerful screaming type voice, you know. So I was more like a folk singer, or, you know, that type of thing, more than rock. Rock is tough to sing. I think you got to have a real powerful voice. I don't have a real powerful voice, but you know, I do with it as I can. Retirement is good, Scott. Yes. Well, Scott, you know something? Sometimes you have, when you do retire, and when I retired in 2011, I went right to a full-time teaching position at a college because I had already been teaching it part-time. So I went right into that, and then I did that for like 5 or 6 years, and then I started doing other things. I started doing acting and stand-up comedy, and then it led to this podcast, which is a sort of almost like a full-time job for me right now, you know. I'm still figuring it out. I'm working hard at it, but it's fulfilling, and I get to talk to you guys as often as I would like to. It's good to see you. Wendy Kraft, how are you? Milwaukee Civilian, buddy, great to see you. Yeah, we got to get to 50,000. You know, something like, I know I told you guys yesterday, but part of being a good YouTube content creator is you have to know how to title your episodes, and you have to know how to, let me put it this way, massage the algorithm. And sure enough, the YouTube didn't like what I covered yesterday, so of course demonetized it. There's a lot of politics involved in this, and certain things, yeah, I guess this movie, The Sound of Freedom, many people don't like what it's portraying, and I don't understand that, because I think I didn't see the movie, so I can't speak upon it. But what I did watch, I watched a great deal of the interviews with Jim Caviezel and of course Tim Ballard, who is the actual Homeland Security officer in which the movie was based upon, his career. Wendy Kraft, I couldn't watch, but I'm so glad you covered it. It's Mimi, I don't understand either. Well, you know, look, that's all part of it, and I'm learning as I go, you know, on the job training, just like I did as a cop. You learn the job on the job, you know. But so yeah, sometimes you got to cover some things that may not get as many views, may not be a huge hit. Carol Grayson, hi Sergeant Mill, last night's episode was amazing. Carol, no matter what we do, Carol, you love us, and I appreciate that. But thank you very much. So yeah, look at that. I don't want to, Jennifer, your YouTube selling. Oh, I think that's horrible, Jennifer. I saw Dooney Run, the Zav girl. Yeah, Dooney Run did a whole show on that the other night with Melanie Little, and you know, it's pathetic. It's really pathetic that someone could do that. You know, and look, in a lot of ways, there's not a lot of what should I say? That you have to have sort of ethics yourself when you're a content creator. And there's a lot of people that do things that are unethical, and maybe not illegal, but unethical. Things that myself and Dooney Run would never do. Amy in Boston, good to see you. Please come to Boston for the springtime. I'm staying here with some friends and we got lots of room. And you can sell your paintings on the sidewalk outside some cafe where I'll be working soon. Please come to Boston, she said no. Or won't you come home to me? Oh, Ramblin' boy, why don't you settle down? Boston ain't your kind of town. There ain't no gold and there ain't nobody like me. 'Cause I'm the #1 fan of the man from Tennessee. Great tune. Really, that's a great tune. Pulled out of the hat. Teresa, thank you. Ava Hawkshaw, swaying to the music. Chef Lady, hi all. Amy in Boston, love your songs. Thank you. Wendy Kraft used to have that on 78. Now, like, vinyl is a thing of the past, right? Now you get all your music from Spotify or from some paid site, and then all the artists are complaining, you know. I saw an interview one time with one of my favorites, Van Morrison, and it was a couple of years ago, and the interviewer said, "So Van, how you doing?" He goes, "I'm not doing so good." And I go, "Well, what's the matter, Van?" He goes, "I'm not getting paid for any of my songs." I'm sorry, I probably do a terrible Irish accent. And he was like, "People taking my songs and playing them without my knowledge and without me getting any money." And you can understand a songwriter like Van Morrison puts out his songs and then they play them on all of these music sites that these artists never agreed to. Barbara George, good morning. Sergeant Bill from steamy North Carolina. Wow, it's got to be hot down there today. It's beautiful in New York today, and I'm hoping the weather will actually stay nice for the weekend. Richella Pranzo's in the house. Richella, good to see you. Thank you and Lieutenant Pete for all your support. You're unwavering. You're two of our best in the chat. We really appreciate you. Pablo Cicada, Tupelo Honey. Yes, I love that tune, you know. I used to sing that to my kids when they were babies. You could take all the tea in China, put it in a big brown bag for me, sail right down all the 7 oceans, take it right into the deep blue sea. She's as sweet as Tupelo honey. She's an angel of the first degree. She's as sweet as Tupelo honey, just like honey baby from the bee. You can stop us on the road to freedom. You can't stop us 'cause our eyes just can't see. Gene Borchardt, it's the movie, the topic that they didn't like was the movie The Sound of Freedom, which has been controversial. There's a lot of magazines like Rolling Stone, a lot of the other progressive news stations, say CNN, MSNBC, that are claiming that the movie is indoctrination. It's inspired by QAnon. I tell you the truth, I don't even know what QAnon is, but it's been attacked by the left-wing media, and so I knew it would be controversial. But many people have covered it, and it's again, and I say this right out off the bat, I haven't seen the movie. I watched some of the interviews. Jennifer, my friend was a homicide detective. He took me to see a real autopsy, and it's kind of, yeah, it's not the nicest thing to see. You know, on the NYPD, detectives, the catching detective on a homicide, are required to attend the autopsy. And that's all part of their job. So if you can't stomach that, you really can't investigate homicide. And it's not a nice thing, but it's something that is part of their job, and to be able to explain if they get called to testify. Yes, Milwaukee Civilian, the movie is called The Sound of Freedom, absolutely. Jim Caviezel, and I think he played Jesus Christ in the last, that Mel Gibson movie. And so he is, he's definitely a Christian actor, and that can also raise the ire of some people that, they just don't appreciate religion or anything like that. But ATS says, I like the actor. He was in The Count of Monte Cristo too. Yeah, so Vicky Smith going to be 92 in Maryland today. Wow, 92. So, I took a risk. I know all you guys that watch Police Off the Cuff, you really enjoy Passion of the Christ, Cheryl, that's right. Mike Geary. Mike Geary is great. I can't say enough about him. He's just he's a real low-key guy. He's a really smart guy. And I love doing a show with him. And last night, actually, Phil Grimaldi was supposed to come on with us at the last minute. He had something that he couldn't, that he had to take care of, let's say, and he couldn't come on the show. So it would have been both of them, but it was just myself and Mike Geary. And I even called Melanie, but Melanie actually has a life too. And Melanie was going out to dinner last night. So it was just myself and Mike Geary. And it's funny, I always say to Mike, you almost never turn me down. And he goes, that's because I have no life. And I find that tremendously funny, and I know he really does. How about the recent movie Nefarious? That's supposed to be, I haven't watched that, nor did I see The Sound of Freedom. I just watched the buzz about this movie. I think the movie it's been in limited theaters, and it's already has like $50 million it made. The movie was made in 2018, and because of COVID, it wasn't released. Well, not just COVID, they ran out of money. They didn't have enough money to complete the movie. There's just an article to keep up with this same sort of theme. There was an article in the New York Times today about how Ecuador is being taken over by drug cartels. I mean, what is... I just don't understand it. What are we waiting for? That is our southern border. Why are we not involved in this when these countries are importing drugs into our country and human trafficking and all these bad? And then when it's brought up, some people say, "Oh, you're just trying to create fear." No, it's the reality of it. It's actually happening. It's happening, And now there's new drugs coming out of there, And of course, the fentanyl crisis is it's undeniable. So what are we, as the United States of America, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for to get involved and stop this importation of drugs into our country? It's destroying the youth, Or if you're a fan of my cousin Vinny, it's destroying the youths, Milwaukee Civilian. No, I'm not worried about the iron pipeline. That's something. And I'll tell you why, Milwaukee Civilian. If anyone is serious about guns in this country, then they should be prosecuting the people that pull the trigger. That's more important than prosecuting, going after the guns. Milwaukee Civilian, you're right. I guess you knew my position. You just baited me. You led me right through that through that opening in the wall, and I took it and I walked right through it. So I think, again, one side is against the Second Amendment. The other side says, well, why aren't you prosecuting the people that are using the guns rather than trying to take the guns away from legal gun owners? And I don't want to get into a whole Second Amendment thing, but a lot of these things are interconnected. Interconnected. Tax cut. Streamer chased the dangling carrot. I don't know what that means, but Lou Lemoracco, good morning, Bill, and all the chat. Good to see you, Lou. So last night, The Sound of Freedom, and I do want to go see the movie. I wish it was available well, actually, I wish it could be like a pay-per-view type thing. I could get it on Netflix or something like that, but I don't know if it's so political that, I don't know if Netflix would allow it on their site. Debbie Johnson, morning, Bill, from Tucson, Arizona. Jojo was a man who thought he was a loner, but he knew it couldn't last. Jojo left his home in Tucson, Arizona, for some California grass. Get back, get back, get back to where you once belonged. Get back, Jojo. Your mama's waiting for you. And she's wearing her high heel shoes and her low neck sweater. Get back home, Loretta. Love that tune, huh? The Beatles always had, besides great music, they had a sense of humor in their songs, Beatles with Bill, yes. Chef Lady, great song, yeah, excellent song, right? Here's a song that can survive 50 years and it's still good. 50 years later, it's still good, right? Mystique, good to see you. 115 in the chat, 66 with the thumbs up. Let's get some more thumbs up, guys. We got to hit that. I just watched that documentary, Get Back. I'm going to have to see it. Yoko, oh yeah, Tax Cut Yoko's your favorite Beatle. I don't mean to be mean to John Lennon's ex-wife. It's always be his wife Yoko, but she has zero musical talent. She could clear out a room. And to call her a musician, and I don't want to be mean or anything, but she has no talent as far as music. And I don't know, anyone, why would anyone go see the Yoko Ono band? I just don't get it. It's like she rode her husband's coattails in the music. Debbie Johnson, 110 here today. It's the hit. Whoa. Rosemary, Scott, laughing my LMAO. Sounds like the alley cat in a fight, Michael Allen. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I mean, when someone has no talent musically, but they insist on performing because they're riding the coattails of their famous husband. Lou, I tried. Early on in the Koberger case, I got CeCe Moore's email and I got her cell phone number. And I texted her on her cell phone and I sent her an email and she didn't even respond. I would have loved to have her on Police Off the Cuff. I think she's brilliant and I would, love to question her about this stuff. And she has a real amazing ability to break down investigative genetic genealogy to make it understandable to the layman. And I would have loved to have her on the show, and if she's listening, if she's listening to Backyard Beverage, Bitching with Bill, Coffee with Cannon, Crime, Cuffs, Comedy, whatever you want to call it in Cannon, she's still always welcome on the show, and she could reach out to me via policeoffthecuff, @gmail.com. I'm waiting to hear from you, CeCe Moore. Come on the Police Off the Cuff podcast. I'm going to check it out, Lou, but one of the best interviews, Lou, with her was about 5 or 6 months ago, and she was on CNN with Smirkanish, and she really explained investigative genetic genealogy very, very well, and I've played that numerous times on my show. In addition, we've had, and I can't remember their names right now, 2 folks that run the Investigative Genetic Genealogy Certificate Program at Ramapo College in New Jersey, and they were on our show. And that it's an amazing science, and it really intrigues me. And in addition, a couple of years ago, I had a great young man named Eric Schubert, who just graduated from college, and of course, they grabbed him up right away, one of the genetic genealogy companies, because he's brilliant. It's Mimi. Yeah, I know she did a show with the Harvard lawyer. I guess maybe if I said, Nassau Community, Buffalo State, John Jay College, Sergeant, maybe she'd come on my show. Maybe not. Maybe she wouldn't be impressed with those educational credentials. AA, BA, MS, Sergeant, NYPD, PhD in Street. Maybe she wouldn't be as impressed with those credentials as the Harvard lawyer, so maybe she won't come on my show. But I hold no grudges. I think CeCe Moore is brilliant, and she's going to save lots of lives and add closure. The ATS News, haha, PhD in Street, love that. You know, it's funny, and this is a little off color, but I'll tell it anyway. Lou Lemaraco, the best Professor Bill Cannon. I was one time going to testify at the Manhattan DA's office. I forgot what kind. It was either a robbery or some kind of case. And this young district attorney says to me, she goes, "Sergeant, to humanize you in front of the jury, could you tell me what your educational background is?" And I said, "Sure. I have an AA, a BA, an MS, and I have a BMF." And she goes, "Well, I know what an AA, a BA, and an MS is, but what's a BMF?" I go, "I'm a bad motherfucker." This DA, I think, wanted to resign that day. She was so embarrassed that she fell for it. But, and I'm sorry if I offended anyone using that word, but I had to tell you the story. And Justin LD, love your singing voice. Thank you for the $5 super sticker. Talks to angels. Great to see you. Scott loved that, right? But she, I think she wanted to resign as a DA that day, you know. But I just couldn't resist the joke. I just couldn't, you know. First of all, it's a little bit like to a cop when a DA says, "We to humanize you." Oh, I guess they don't see me as a human because I'm a cop, you know. "To humanize you in the eyes of the jury, could you tell me your education?" What if I said I have high school? You know, does that make me not as human as the jury? You know, but and the DA was, she was great. I mean, she was really nice. I don't mean to put her down at all, but I just couldn't resist going for that joke, and I did. And I think she probably went to her therapist after she got off of work that day. You know. Oh yeah, in Pulp Fiction. That's not where I got it from, because this was before Pulp Fiction even came out. So, but look, you have to have a sense of humor, you know, and everyone in every field has to have a sense of humor, right? And if you don't, you're missing out on one of the biggest things in life, and that's laughter, you know. I think it's good to laugh. It's healthy to laugh. Diane Krause loved it. So I don't tell that all the time because I don't know how it will be received by my audience, but this is Backyard Beverage, Coffee with Cannon, Bitchin' with Bill, Coffee, Crime, Cuffs, and Crying, whatever you want to call this show. But I get to talk to you guys. 124 people in the chat, 92 with the thumbs up. So, yeah, this summer seems like it's going by really fast, you know. I'm supposed to be going to Arizona in August to visit my son, Casey, and he's getting a dog this weekend. He's getting one of those Labradoodles, and he's so excited. And I never really wanted to have a dog, you know, with my wife and I, when my two sons were growing up. I think it's a lot of work, but people that have dogs, you know, they love the dog. It's like having a kid, you know. So he wants to get this little Labradoodle, and he's really excited about getting it. These little tiny dogs, you know, and he's already got it signed up as a what do they call it? Not a therapy dog. What do they call that when you're allowed to have a dog and take it with you on a plane and take it with you everywhere? I forget what it's called, but anyway, he's already got that lined up. Tax cut dogs are the best security system. Yeah, I mean, even though this is a little probably emotional support dog, Danielle K. Thank you so much. Compassion, companion. K-Me, hello, how are you? McMahon. Yeah, so it's he's getting one of these little Labradoodles, and but you know, it definitely, a dog is like having a kid or a baby, because now when you want to go somewhere, say you want to go away on a vacation, what are you going to do with your dog? You either have to have a friend. It's Mimi, Poolside with Bill. That's a new one. That's a new one. The pool looks great though, doesn't it? Comfort dog, Barbara George. Service dog. Who let the dogs out? Woof, woof, woof. Remember that song? I used to sing that to my son Jake, and he used to get so pissed off at me, you know. Who let the dogs out? Woof, woof, woof. Daniel K. You hurt my black lab's feelings, Daniel K. I'm sorry, I'll have to warn you. He's getting a Labradoodle. Those are tiny dogs, though, right? And I think they cost a fortune. I think this dog costs like $2,000. And he's actually getting it from a woman who lives in Wyoming. And one of his friends wanted one too. And so she's bringing the dog to him because she's going to a concert in Denver this weekend. And his friend actually is getting the dog's brother. So how nice is that? That a friend that lives right near him is getting his dog's brother. It's like they're not breaking up the family. They're bringing two of the same family of Labradoodles to Denver, you know. So, I thought it was a heartwarming, touching story. The Labradoodle brothers are coming to Denver. Carmelita, always good to see you, Carmelita. I love your name. I love that name, Carmelita. It's Little Carmen, right? That's the only thing I learned in Spanish class in 2 years or 3 years in high school, you know. And then I always wished that I had learned Spanish when I worked up in, good to see you too, Carmelita. I always wished that I had learned Spanish when I worked in Washington Heights and worked in the 2-3 precinct Spanish Harlem. You know, you pick up little stuff, but guys that worked in precincts that were all Spanish speaking, some of these guys actually learned how to speak Spanish just through being exposed to it every single day. And that's pretty cool, right? That they could learn. I've seen a bunch of guys that they could have conversations. I was like, how'd you learn that? Oh, just from, I picked it up, you know. Daniel K., he was only 12 pounds when I got him. They grew up so quick. Yeah. You know, down in Jupiter, Florida, where I'm going to go again for this winter, guys. So you'll see Police Off the Cuff live from Jupiter. I'm going down there at the end of... Scott, I learned more in Bushwick than I did in high school. I'm going to go down to Jupiter at the end of October and spend the winter there again. And the beach, there's a part of the beach in Jupiter that's called Dog Beach. And everyone brings their dogs there. And everyone is very conscious. They supply the baggies for when a dog poops on the beach, and people are so fast to clean it up because I guess that's one of the things that you have to be conscious of, that if you own a dog and it does go to the bathroom on the beach, you got to clean it up right away, or else people wouldn't want to come to that beach if, of course it was... Katerina Fedlova, got a terrier. Any breed, those little terrorists will keep you busy 24/7. You know, but I know that people that own dogs, they're so committed to their dogs. They love their dogs, you know. And I guess I can understand it, but what's a Osipo are so fun and smart too. Marcella, male Labradoodles should be somewhere between 22 24 inches tall. Female Labradoodles 21 to 28. Michella, do you have a Labradoodle? Debbie John, my Thor is my emotional support dog. He's a very spoiled baby. See, I got all these people that are dog lovers in the chat. And Barbara George, Doggy Beach. Yeah, it's a doggy beach in Jupiter. They actually call it Dog Beach. And people... and I always like to go away from Dog Beach. I go near like the pier, which is near Juno Beach. But my wife, like when she's with me, she's like, oh no, I don't want to go near the pier. I want to go. So when she's around, I have to take her to Dog Beach, and that's where we hang, so Rachella doesn't have a dog, but she just knows a lot about dogs. Cats are awesome. Rosemary J., I'm allergic, really badly allergic to cats, so I couldn't even consider having a cat. I go near a cat, I can't breathe. So cats are out for me, But I think dogs are more loyal than cats. I know you cat lovers may disagree. There is a dog beach in San Diego, Ocean Beach, Dewey Weber. San Diego is one of the most beautiful places I've been to. And, oh, Richella Googled it. Right on, Josephine. We rescued a doggy corgi dachshund mix. You guys are all, there's all these dog lovers in the chat. So, Dooney Run did a show the other night on that YouTube content creator. Hey Bill, nice to see you. Miss Kurt Beth Cobain. Barbara George, cats own you. Pete says Mr. Smith is his security. Yeah, that's Mr. Smith and Wesson, right? Cocktails, crimes, guitars, Lula Morocco. I'm allergic to have to get shots, but it's worth it. Rosemary. Yeah, Dooney Run spoke about the Zav girl the other night. And it really, I think, her posting autopsy photos of a young boy on her Patreon site is beyond the pale. Beyond what any YouTube content creator that has any ethics whatsoever should do, you know, and just horrific. But, you know, we've spoken out against other content creators that have done some things that we felt were extremely unethical. And I'm not going to name them. We did that in the past, and it creates a shitstorm of their followers and our followers, and, you know, and when it occurs, I would point it out, but I'm not looking to make someone famous by, you know, saying they did this or they did that. But, you know, some things, there is ethics to this. I believe they should have ethics when you're a content creator on YouTube, you know. And there's, of course, the bigger content creators will say, oh, you're just jealous. No, I'm not jealous. Because you have more subscribers than me. I just think what you did was unethical. And I'll point it out every single time. I don't care if you have 1 million subscribers, you know. Sergeant Breaking State and Suffolk PD, Jane skeletal remains on Southern State Parkway in West Islip. Right away, are they already saying this is Lisk, Long Island serial killer? I think we'll have to wait to see how this turns out. I'll follow it. You say human remains recovered in West Islip along the Southern State Parkway. Well, that Long Island serial killer case apparently is still open and still, you know, no arrest in it. We don't know. Simple math. I don't know how many people paid to look at those. I mean, that's sort of rewarding bad behavior, right? If you paid on her Patreon to look at those autopsy photos, then how could you say that you're against what she did? You just rewarded bad behavior, didn't you? So anyone that paid to look at those photos, you're sort of complicit in what she did, you know. And you know, look, I don't want to do the episode on this. I just mentioned it, and I know Dooney Run did a great show the other night. So it's Danielle K. I don't even subscribe. I don't know who's. Apparently, she has 100,000 subscribers. I don't know if that what she did. Scott, I'll bet my Viral Supplement Fund checks that Burke, the retired chief from Suffolk County, is involved. Yeah, I don't know enough about the case. I know it's a very difficult case. And again, I can't just offhandedly talk about it here. You'd have to dedicate not just one, but numerous episodes to it. I did an early episode probably 2 or 3 years ago with Barbara Butcher on it. And Barbara Butcher was extremely intrigued by that case and actually called the Suffolk County police. Naomi McFarland, whole bill from Inland Empire, Cali. Good to see you. Scott Measures said, in my own opinion, sick child porn lost 2,000. Huh. You know, so you know that James Bitroff is Lisk most likely. Tax cut. I believe Bitroff was the guy who has been arrested and did commit a couple of murders that he was charged with, and they potentially believe that he is the guy, but they have no DNA, and since he is in prison and lawyered up, they can't speak to him about it because he's represented by counsel. So it becomes a difficult situation there. So it'll be carried probably as open. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff, real crime stories, coffee with Cannon, backyard beverage bitching with Bill. I don't know, what else can we call this? Anyway, if you're not subscribed to us, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, and join us when we do these lives from my backyard pool area. Well, we always have fun. I have faith that things will work out how they should. All of the right people are aware and so upset, understandably. I guess you're talking about the Zav girl. Oh, anyway, I was talking about Barbara Butcher. In 2 days, less than 80,000 subscribers. I don't know the Zav girl. I'm not gonna beat her up over this. Many people, I believe, thought it was a horrific thing to do. Anyway, Barbara, I'm actually going to interview Barbara Butcher next week. Carmelita saying she agrees with me, but she says other creators are doing entire episodes attacking the Zav girl, and I guess making money off that too. I think that you don't want to make a living off this. I think Brian Enton from News Nation did a whole show about it the other night, and I couldn't help but think, and I really like Brian Enton a lot, I couldn't help but think as he was doing that show, of course what she did was horrific, but the mainstream media, I'm not saying they publish autopsy photos, but they do some other things that are pretty unethical, and trying to interview a guy that murdered 4 people, trying to interview him in prison or in jail. I mean, is that not unethical? It's not. He's awaiting trial, and you're going to try to interview him. That's, to me, that's totally unethical. Anyway, let's get back to Barbara Butcher. So next week, I'm trying to start a new, sort of like a new series within my channel called Law and Crime Authors. And the other day I interviewed Michael O'Keefe, who's written numerous books. Shot to Pieces is one of them, A Burnt to a Crisp, and Reckoning in Brooklyn. Those are his 3 novels that he's written. But more importantly, Michael O'Keefe, Ride on Josephine, focus on the surviving family. Yeah, I think that's what should be done in that instance. It was a horrible case. Zav goes, changed over the last, I can't read it, the word, I think he did a typo on the one word. I don't know who would think that that's okay to do what she did, though, to publish autopsy photos. I can't understand is there anyone on this earth that thinks that is okay to do that? And it's not like it's being used in a classroom or to teach someone something. It's being used, in this instance, to make money. So yeah, I don't think you can really, can defend her behavior. She paid $400 for the photos. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it anymore, guys. Let's get back to Barbara Butcher. And if you haven't read her book or ordered her book, I love Barbara Butcher, so let me get that right out there. I worked with her. I attended the criminal investigation course when she taught at it. She's a tremendous teacher, He's got a great sense of humor. And her book, What the Dead Know, I read it in 3 days. I couldn't put it down. I just thought it was so good. It was so good. So on the 19th, next week, I'm going to interview her for the new series I have, Law and Crime Authors. And it's not going to be live. These interviews that I do on the Law and Crime Authors series, I'm going to interview them live, but record it. And then Josh, our engineer, our editor, he's going to edit it, and we're going to put it out there as a premiere. And my intention is to interview Jennifer Ashworth. Good, thank you so much. I love those 2 hearts, very much appreciated. So that's my intention, is to put out a new show. Besides everything we do, Law and Crime Authors, and I'm being contacted by a lot of writers, and I can't, I'm a one-man operation really from the, yes, new segment with the writers, yes. I'm sort of a one-man operation as far as all the nuts and bolts of this show. Yeah, when I go on the show, sometimes I'll have Mike Geary, sometimes I'll have Phil Grimaldi, sometimes I'll have Melanie Little, sometimes I'll have all 4 of us on together, but as far as the nuts and bolts and putting it out and doing all the work and all that stuff, I do it by myself. And believe me, I am no computer genius. I struggle. Sometimes when I have problems, I'll call Josh, but I'm not, I'm in the age group that you had to learn all of this stuff, Look at all of us guys around the same age, or I shouldn't speak, I'm older than most. But how about your phone? Is anyone here a genius on their iPhone? No. You have a problem with that, you go to your kids, right? They're right on, Josephine. Thank you. It's still just the Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories channel. I'm just going to put another show on the channel. And Carmelita, proud of you, Bill. You're building a great show, and I thank you for all your hard work. Look forward to your shows. Thank you, Carmelita. That's very, very nice of you. And all you guys that follow me, support me, I really appreciate you guys. And that's why I want to show you my pool today. It looks so good. The pool looks good today, right? So yeah, so I don't know if anyone in the chat right now has started to read Barbara Butcher's book, but I would again highly recommend it. And again, Barbara Butcher is a friend. BPD, the pool looks inviting. Barbara George, I give my phone to my 11-year-old granddaughter. Yeah, they know everything, right? When I go to the gym, it's so annoying to me because when I go to the gym, my phone stays in my locker. I don't bring my phone out because I think you're too distracted by your phone all of the time. How about, Nikki Bella, good to see you. How about spending some you time, some me time, and leaving your damn phone in your locker, right? Every young kid that works out these days, this is them. I think they're working out their thumbs. They cannot stay off the text messaging in the gym. How about your workout, dude? And they're also taking more time at a station because they're more concerned with their cell phone than they are with using the weights that they're in front. BPD says amen. Isn't that true? Leave your damn phone in your locker. They used to have signs in the gym, no cell phone use. Now I think they've surrendered. Most gyms have surrendered to the cell phone. The cell phone won. When I used to teach college, you couldn't get the kids to get the hell off their phone during the class, Crazy. Being from Washington State, I learned a lot about law enforcement on the East Coast. Very admirable. Thank you so much, Barbara George. Yes, I agree. Makes me so angry when I see all these young drivers texting. That's the scariest thing. People in cars texting. Because how can you possibly concentrate on the road if you're texting while driving? There's been people that have lost their lives texting while driving, right? So really crazy, a waste, just a total waste to be texting while you're driving. Insane, totally insane. Dewey Weber, how do you young people sleep with, yeah, they can't, they're thinking they're waking up in the middle of the night, a dream, and going to their cell phone and, oh, let me check my messages, I think it's almost like designed that it's that addicting, the cell phone, you know. Karen Kennedy, there are only a few true crime channels I listen to now. Look, there's so many choices. I'm so glad I grew up without the cell phone, Carmelita. Yeah, I mean, we had to learn, but you have to admit, you're addicted now too, and so am I. You know, I'd love to say I'm not, but there's so many things that we rely on a cell phone for, you know. Appointments, doctor's appointments, dentist's appointment, and they constantly remind you, right? Carmelita, only when you're on, Bill. Oh, that's very nice of you. All the things, look, I use my calendar in my phone to when I have an appointment, I put it in there and it lets me know. Kathy says her nephew lost his life driving while texting. I'm sorry to hear that, Kathy. It's such a dangerous thing to do, you know. Pamela White, good to see you. 127 in the chat, 142 thumbs up. How did that happen? More thumbs up than people in the chat, but that's okay. Let's get more people in the chat and to equal out the thumbs up. Now it's dropping. We're at 46 minutes, so I only got about 3.5 minutes left. Rosemary J, love you, Barbara. Yeah, anyone in the chat has read Barbara's book yet, other than me? I read it I told you I read it in 3 days, and I went to Barbara's book party, and Barbara signed it for me, and we took pictures. I posted them on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. I pasted them everywhere because I'm trying to make sure Barbara's book sells. Make her a New York Times bestseller. That would be amazing, right? If we could get Barbara to, and Barbara just, if you read this book, and I'm not, Lou Lemoracco, yeah, I've watched Ken Mains on YouTube, and he's good. He is good, and he's ethical, and I like that about him. He knows his stuff, and he's articulate. So yeah, I like Ken Mains. In fact, I actually one time was going to try to do a show with him, and something didn't work out. But Miss Kurt, I'm feeling pretty well, very well, guys. I'm doing well, and I'm trying to stay healthy. I lost 11 pounds, and I'm trying to. I was 223, almost 224. I want to get down to 205, and see if I can maintain that. So I was down to like 212 and change. Lost 10, 11 pounds. It all also depends on when you weigh yourself, you know. So, sunset gazing, I sleep with a cell phone in a different room. Your brain is being bombarded when it needs to be in a state of rest. You're 100% right. 100% right. BPD, very nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to lose, I guess it would be like 18 to 19 pounds. If I can do that, I'm going to try to get down to 205. And the hard part, you can get to it. Hard part is maintaining it, because a lot of times once you reach your goal, what do? You go back to your old eating habits, and that's not what you want to do. You want to, you know, stay away from the cheeseburgers, French fries, and pizza, all the things that you love. And really what my diet isn't that scientific. Just no pasta, bread, or potatoes. That's what I avoid. BPD, yeah, it's so true, right? Once you reach your weight goal, you know what everyone's using now is that diabetic drug. I forget what it's, what is it called? Michael Allen, it's the cookies and the cake. People are getting, they're losing huge amounts of weight. I forget, Ozempic, yes. People are actually getting injections from their doctor, and they're having tremendous results with that drug. And I think Billy Joel lost 40 or 50 pounds, and I don't know specifically if he used Ozempic, but he lost it real quick, so I would imagine he must have used something like that. Guys, I'm at 49 minutes, 30 seconds, so we have about 30 seconds left. I want to thank everyone for coming by today. It's always fun. Coffee, Cuffs, and Cannon, Backyard Beverage, Bitching with Bill. Coffee with Cannon, I love to have you guys here. It's great to spend 50 minutes with you. I want everyone to have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon. See you soon, guys.